and a world filled with noise, distractions, and endless searching, there was once a voice that spoke with clarity, truth, and quiet power, a voice that did not need to shout to be heard, a presence that did not demand attention, yet transformed the hearts of millions. And that voice belonged to Jesus Christ, a man who walked this earth not with wealth or status, but with purpose, compassion, and truth, teaching lessons that would echo through time and continue to guide humanity even today. And among those lessons, one stands above all: the power of unconditional love, a love that goes beyond feelings, beyond convenience, beyond what is easy, a love that asks you to care even when it hurts, to give even when you receive nothing in return, to forgive even when the pain feels too deep. Because true love is not just an emotion, it is a choice, a decision you make every single day. And Jesus showed that love is the foundation of a meaningful life, teaching people not only to love those who are kind to them, but also to love those who oppose them, those who misunderstand them, and even those who hurt them, because love has the power to heal what hatred destroys. And where there is love, there is hope, and where there is hope, there is transformation, and along with love comes faith, a powerful force that stands in opposition to fear, because fear is something that holds people back. It whispers doubt into your mind. It tells you that you are not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. But faith speaks louder, reminding you that even in the darkest moments, there is a purpose. Even in the storms of life, there is a path forward. And Jesus taught again and again, do not be afraid, because fear may be natural, but it does not have to control you. And when you choose faith over fear, you begin to see life differently. You begin to trust that every challenge has meaning, that every struggle has a lesson, and that even when you cannot see the way ahead, you are not walking alone. And this leads to another powerful truth: the importance of forgiveness, because holding on to anger and pain can feel justified. It can feel like strength, but in reality, it is a burden that weighs down your soul. And Jesus showed that forgiveness is not about excusing what was done. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of resentment. It is about choosing peace over bitterness and letting go of what no longer serves you. Because when you forgive, you are not saying the pain did not matter. You are saying it will not control your future. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your peace. And you take a step toward healing. And through all of this, Jesus demonstrated humility, a quality often misunderstood in a world that values pride and recognition, because humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. It is choosing to serve rather than to be served, to listen rather than to dominate, to lift others up rather than to seek validation. And despite having the wisdom and influence to command authority, Jesus chose a path of service, showing that true greatness is not measured by how many people follow you, but by how many people you help. And when you embrace humility, you open yourself to growth, to understanding, to connection, and you begin to see that life is not about proving your worth to others, but about living in alignment with truth and purpose. And these lessons are not just ideas to admire. They are principles to live by. They are choices you make in your daily life, in the way you treat people, in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you see yourself and the world around you. Because the teachings of Jesus Christ were never meant to remain in the past. They are meant to live within you, to guide your actions, to shape your character, and to transform your life from the inside out. And the more you reflect on these truths, the more you begin to realize that real change does not come from external success. It comes from inner transformation, from choosing love when it is hard, from holding on to faith when everything feels uncertain, from forgiving when your heart resists, and from walking in humility in a world that constantly tells you to seek attention. And in doing so, you begin to experience a peace that is not dependent on circumstances, a strength that is not shaken by challenges, and a purpose that gives your life meaning beyond what you can see. And in the end, the question is not whether these teachings are powerful. The question is whether you are willing to live them, whether you are willing to let them change you, because transformation begins with a single decision, and that decision is yours. As life continues to unfold with its uncertainties and challenges, another powerful lesson emerges from the teachings of Jesus Christ, a lesson about purpose, because many people walk through life feeling lost, searching for meaning in temporary things, chasing success, validation, and material gain, only to find themselves empty. But Jesus taught that true purpose is not found in what you have. It is found in who you are and how you live. It is found in serving others, in making a difference, and living a life aligned with truth and love, because a life without purpose may feel full on the outside but remains empty within. And when you begin to understand that your existence has meaning beyond personal gain, everything changes. Your struggles begin to shape you instead of break you. Your pain begins to teach you instead of define you. And you start to see that even the moments of your life have a role in your journey, because purpose is often revealed not in comfort, but in challenges. And this leads to another deep truth, the importance of patience, because in a fast-paced world, where everything is expected instantly, waiting can feel frustrating, discouraging, even painful. But Jesus showed that growth takes time, that transformation is a process, and that not everything meant for you will come immediately, because there is a season for everything, a time to plant, a time to grow, and a time to receive. And when you learn patience, you learn trust. You learn to let go of control, and to believe that what is meant for you will come at the right time. Not your time, but the right time. And in that waiting, you are being prepared, strengthened, and shaped into the person you are meant to become. And along with patience comes the lesson of trusting God even when life does not make sense, because there will be moments when doors close unexpectedly, when plans fall apart, when the path ahead becomes unclear, and in those moments it is easy to feel lost, to question everything. But Jesus reminded people to trust beyond what they can see, to believe even without proof, to hold on even when everything inside them wants to give up, because trust is not about understanding every detail. It is about believing that there is a greater plan at work, even when you cannot see it. And when you choose to trust, you release the burden of trying to control everything, and you allow yourself to move forward with peace instead of anxiety. And this naturally connects to another powerful teaching, the idea of letting go of worry, because worry consumes the mind. It steals your peace, it drains your energy, and yet it solves nothing. And Jesus spoke directly to this, reminding people not to worry about tomorrow, because each day has enough challenges of its own. And when you constantly focus on what might go wrong, you lose the ability to appreciate what is going right. And learning to let go of worry does not mean you ignore your responsibilities. It means you choose not to let fear control your thoughts. You choose to focus on what you can do today, on what you can control in this moment, and you trust that the rest will unfold as it should. And through all these teachings, one central message becomes clear: the importance of inner peace, because true peace is not found in external circumstances. It is not found in wealth, success, or approval from others. It is found within. It is a state of being that comes from alignment with truth, from living with love, faith, and purpose. And Jesus demonstrated that even in the midst of chaos, even in the face of suffering, peace is possible. Not because the situation is easy, but because the heart is grounded, and when you cultivate that inner peace, you become unshaken by the storms of life. You become resilient, calm, and strong, and you begin to realize that happiness is temporary. It comes and goes, but peace is lasting. It stays with you even in difficult times. And as you reflect on these lessons, you start to see that they are deeply connected. Forward, and peace gives you stability through it all. And none of these are achieved overnight. They are developed through daily choices, through moments where you decide to keep going instead of giving up, to believe instead of doubting, to stay calm instead of reacting. And in those small decisions, your life begins to transform, not suddenly but steadily, not loudly but deeply, and you begin to step into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the truth that Jesus Christ came to teach. And once again, the question is not whether these lessons are meaningful. The question is whether you are ready to live them, because the path is there, the guidance is clear, and the opportunity for transformation is always within your reach. As the journey of life continues, there comes a moment when every person must confront pain, because pain is an unavoidable part of the human experience. It comes in many forms: loss, rejection, failure, heartbreak, and disappointment. And while many try to escape it or numb it, Jesus Christ revealed a different perspective. He showed that pain is not meaningless, that suffering is not the end of the story, but often the beginning of transformation, because it is in pain that people grow the most. It is in brokenness that people discover their true strength. And instead of running from suffering, Jesus embraced it with courage, showing that even in the darkest moments there is purpose. And when you begin to see your pain not as punishment but as preparation, everything changes. You stop asking why this is happening to you and start asking what this is teaching you. And in that shift, you begin to heal. Because healing does not come from avoiding pain. It comes from understanding it, facing it, and allowing it to shape you into someone stronger and wiser. And along with pain comes another difficult but powerful lesson: the importance of letting go, because many people hold on to things that are no longer meant for them, relationships that drain them, past mistakes that haunt them, regrets that keep them stuck. And Jesus taught that in order to move forward, you must be willing to release what is holding you back, because you cannot step into a new life while clinging to the past. And letting go is not easy. It requires courage, it requires trust, and it requires faith that something better lies ahead, even if you cannot see it yet. And when you finally release what no longer serves you, you create space for growth, for peace, and for new opportunities. And this naturally connects to the lesson of self-worth, because many people struggle with feeling unworthy, not good enough, not capable, constantly comparing themselves to others, seeking validation from the outside world, But Jesus consistently reminded people of their value, not based on status, not based on achievements, but based on their very existence, showing that every individual has worth. Demonstrated this through his actions, never compromising truth for acceptance, never choosing comfort over purpose. And that kind of courage is what transforms lives, because when you have the courage to live authentically, to speak truth, and to stand firm in your beliefs, you become a source of light in a world that often feels uncertain. And along this path you also learn the importance of compassion, because life is not just about your journey. It is about how you impact others along the way. And Jesus showed compassion to everyone, the broken, the rejected, the forgotten, without judgment, without hesitation, reminding us that kindness has the power to change lives, that a single act of compassion can bring hope to someone who feels invisible. And when you choose compassion, you not only uplift others, you also enrich your own life, because giving creates a deeper sense of fulfillment than receiving ever could. And through all these lessons, a deeper truth begins to unfold. The idea that life is not about perfection. It is about growth. It is about learning, evolving, and becoming better with each passing day. And Jesus never expected perfection from people. He understood human weakness, but he encouraged progress. He encouraged transformation, reminding us that no matter how far we fall, we can always rise again. And this message carries immense power, because it removes the fear of failure. It replaces it with hope, and it reminds you that your mistakes do not define you. Your past does not limit you, and your future is still in your hands, shaped by the choices you make today. And as these lessons continue to unfold, you begin to realize that the teachings of Jesus Christ are not distant ideas from history. They are living truths, relevant in every moment of your life, guiding you through pain, through uncertainty, through growth, and through transformation. And the more you reflect on them, the more you begin to see a shift within yourself, a shift in how you think, how you feel, and how you live. Because true change does not happen overnight. It happens gradually, through awareness, through intention, and through the willingness to embrace a new way of living. And in that process you discover something profound, that the life you have been searching for is not found outside. It has been within you all along, waiting to be awakened, waiting to be lived. And the only thing left to ask yourself is, are you ready to continue this journey? Are you ready to go deeper, to grow stronger, and to become the person you were always meant to be? As the journey continues, there comes a deeper realization that life is not just about what happens to you, but about how you respond to it. Because every situation, no matter how difficult, carries within it a choice, the choice to grow or to give up, to rise or to remain stuck. And Jesus Christ consistently demonstrated the power of response over reaction, showing that true strength lies not in controlling circumstances, but in mastering your inner world, because when faced with negativity, criticism, or injustice, the natural human reaction is to respond with anger, defense, or retaliation. Yet Jesus chose a different path, a path of calm, of wisdom, of restraint, proving that you do not need to match the energy around you. You can rise above it, and in doing so, you protect your peace. And this lesson becomes even more powerful when you begin to understand the importance of discipline, because transformation is not built on occasional effort, it is built on consistent action. on daily decisions that align with your values, even when it is difficult, even when no one is watching. And Jesus lived a life of discipline, not driven by external pressure but by inner purpose, showing that when your actions are guided by truth, consistency becomes natural, and through discipline, you begin to shape your habits, and your habits begin to shape your life. And over time, those small, repeated actions lead to extraordinary change. And alongside discipline comes the lesson of detachment from materialism, because in a world that constantly tells you to seek more, to accumulate more, to measure success by possessions, Jesus taught that true fulfillment does not come from what you own, but from who you are. Because material things are temporary, they can be gained and lost, but inner values, love, faith, and character, these are lasting, and when you detach yourself from the constant need for more, you begin to experience a freedom that many never find, a freedom from comparison, from greed, from the endless cycle of wanting. And in that freedom you discover contentment, a deep sense of satisfaction with what you already have and who you already are, and this contentment opens the door to gratitude, another powerful lesson that Jesus embodied, because gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from lack to abundance, and when you begin to appreciate even the smallest blessings, your perspective changes. Your mindset becomes more positive, and your heart becomes more at peace, and through gratitude, you realize that even in difficult times, there is always something to be thankful for, something that reminds you that life is still giving, still supporting, still guiding you forward. And as these lessons deepen, you also encounter the importance of truth, because living in truth requires honesty. Not just with others, but with yourself. It requires you to face your fears, your weaknesses, your mistakes, without denial, without excuses. And Jesus emphasized truth in every aspect of life, showing that truth is not always comfortable, but it is always necessary, because only through truth can you grow, can you heal. And can you build a life that is real and meaningful? And when you align yourself with truth, you begin to live with integrity. Your actions match your words, your intentions become clear, and your life gains a sense of authenticity that cannot be shaken. And with truth comes clarity, and with clarity comes direction, allowing you to move forward with confidence, even in uncertainty. And along this path, another essential lesson reveals itself, the power of influence, because whether you realize it or not, your life impacts others. Your words, your actions, your choices, they create a ripple effect. And Jesus showed that true influence is not about control or authority. It is about example. It is about living in such a way that others are inspired to become better. And when you choose to live with love, with patience, with integrity, you naturally influence those around you, not through force but through presence. And this is where your life becomes more than just your own journey. It becomes a source of light for others, a reminder that change is possible, that growth is real, and that even in a complicated world, a meaningful and peaceful life can still be lived. And as you reflect on all these lessons, you begin to see a pattern, a deeper understanding that everything is connected. Your thoughts shape your actions shape your habits shape your character, and your character shapes your destiny. And Jesus Christ came not just to teach isolated lessons, but to show a complete way of living, a path that leads to inner peace, strength, and purpose. And the more you walk this path, the more you begin to transform, not into someone new, but into who you were always meant to be. And the journey does not end here. It continues deeper and further, calling you to grow, to reflect, and to live these truths more fully with each passing day. As the journey moves forward, there comes a deeper awakening to the reality that life is not always fair, not always easy, and not always within your control. And yet, within that uncertainty lies one of the most powerful lessons that Jesus Christ taught, the lesson of surrender, because many people spend their lives trying to control everything, trying to force outcomes, trying to hold on tightly to their plans, their expectations, and their desires, believing that control will bring them peace. But in truth, it often brings anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion, and Jesus revealed that true peace is found not in control, but in surrender, in letting go of the need to have everything figured out, and trusting that there is a greater wisdom at work, a greater plan unfolding, even when you cannot see it. And surrender is not about giving up. It is about releasing the illusion that you must carry everything on your own. It is about allowing yourself to be guided, to be supported, and to move forward with trust instead of fear. And when you truly surrender, something shifts within you. The weight you have been carrying begins to lift. Your mind becomes calmer, your heart becomes lighter, and you begin to experience a sense of peace that is not dependent on outcomes, but rooted in trust. And along with surrender comes the lesson of resilience, because life will test you, it will challenge you, it will push you to your limits, and there will be moments when you feel like giving up, moments when the pain feels too heavy and the path feels too long. But Jesus demonstrated a resilience that goes beyond human understanding, a strength that does not come from avoiding difficulty, but from facing it with courage and unwavering faith. And resilience is not about never falling. It is about rising every time you do. It is about continuing forward, even when progress feels slow, even when the results are not immediate. And when you develop resilience, you become unstoppable, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. And this strength is deeply connected to the lesson of obedience to truth, because in a world filled with distractions, temptations, and conflicting messages, staying aligned with what is right can be difficult. It requires discipline, it requires awareness, and it requires a strong sense of inner conviction. And Jesus consistently chose truth over comfort, purpose over popularity, showing that living a meaningful life often requires difficult choices, choices that may not always be understood by others, but are necessary for your growth and integrity. And when you choose to follow truth, even when it is hard, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken, a life that is rooted in authenticity and strength. And as you continue to reflect on these lessons, another powerful truth emerges, the importance of hope, because hope is what keeps you moving forward when everything else feels uncertain. It is the light that guides you through darkness, the belief that no matter how difficult things may seem, there is still a possibility for change, for healing, for something better. And Jesus brought hope to those who had lost it, reminding them that their current situation did not define their future, that no matter how broken they felt, they were not beyond restoration. And this message is just as powerful today, because there are moments in life when you may feel lost, when you may question your direction, your purpose, even your worth. But hope reminds you that this is not the end of your story, that there is still more ahead, more growth, more opportunities, more transformation waiting for you. And with hope comes the lesson of perseverance, because believing is not enough, you must also continue. You must keep going even when the path is difficult, even when progress feels invisible, even when doubt tries to take over. And perseverance is what turns dreams into reality. It is what allows you to move forward step by step, day by day, until you reach a place you once thought was impossible. And Jesus showed that perseverance is not about speed. It is about consistency. It is about staying committed to your path, regardless of the obstacles you face. And as you embrace perseverance, you begin to understand that success is not defined by how quickly you achieve something, but by your willingness to continue despite challenges. And all of these lessons together begin to form a deeper understanding of life, a realization that true transformation is not about changing your circumstances overnight, but about changing yourself from within, your mindset, your perspective, your choices. And as that inner transformation takes place, your external world begins to shift as well. Not necessarily in the way you expected, but in a way that aligns more closely with who you are becoming. And in this process, you start to experience a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond temporary happiness, a deeper sense of purpose, peace, and connection that comes from living in alignment with the teachings of Jesus Christ. And once again, you are faced with a choice. The choice to continue growing, to continue learning, to continue applying these lessons in your daily life. Because the journey is ongoing, the transformation is continuous, and the path ahead is still unfolding, waiting for you to walk it with courage, faith, and an open heart. As this journey moves closer toward its deeper meaning, there comes a profound realization that life is not just about becoming stronger, wiser, or more successful, but about becoming more aligned with truth, more connected with love, and more awakened to the purpose within you, because at the core of everything Jesus Christ taught lies a simple yet transformative truth, that the kingdom you are searching for is not somewhere far away. It is within you. It is found in your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and your willingness to live with intention and awareness. And many people spend their lives searching outside, looking for validation, fulfillment, and peace in the world around them. But Jesus redirected that search inward, showing that true transformation begins from within. And when you begin to look inward, to reflect, to understand yourself deeply, you start to uncover the patterns that shape your life, the beliefs that guide your decisions, and the fears that hold you back. And in that awareness, you find the power to change, because once you see clearly, you can no longer remain the same. And this awareness leads to the lesson of renewal, the idea that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you have done, no matter how far you feel you have fallen, you can begin again, because every moment carries the opportunity for a fresh start, a new perspective, a new direction. And Jesus embodied this message of renewal, offering hope to those who felt lost, reminding them that their past did not define their future, and that change was always possible. And this truth carries incredible power, because it removes the weight of regret, it replaces guilt with growth, and it allows you to step forward with confidence instead of hesitation, knowing that you are not bound by who you were, but empowered by who you can become. And as you embrace renewal, you also begin to understand the importance of alignment, because living a meaningful life is not about doing more. It is about doing what truly matters. It is about aligning your actions with your values, your choices with your purpose, and your life with truth. And when you are aligned, everything begins to feel clearer. Your decisions become easier. Your path becomes more focused, and your energy becomes more directed. And this alignment creates a sense of harmony within you, a feeling that you are moving in the right direction, even if the journey is still unfolding. And along with alignment comes the lesson of stillness, because in a world that is constantly moving, constantly demanding your attention, it is easy to become overwhelmed, distracted, disconnected from yourself. But Jesus often stepped away from the noise, choosing moments of silence, reflection, and connection, showing that stillness is not emptiness. It is where clarity is found. It is where strength is restored. It is where you reconnect with what truly matters. And when you allow yourself moments of stillness, you begin to hear your inner voice more clearly. You begin to understand your thoughts, your emotions, your direction, and in that clarity you find peace. And this peace becomes your foundation, something that remains steady even when the world around you is uncertain. And as you continue on this path, another powerful realization emerges: the importance of living with intention, because life is not just about passing time. It is about how you use that time, how you show up each day, how you treat others, how you respond to challenges. And Jesus lived every moment with purpose, with awareness, with intention, showing that even the smallest actions can carry great meaning when they are done with love and sincerity. And when you begin to live intentionally, you become more present, more engaged, more connected to your life, and you start to see that every day is an opportunity to grow, to give, to become better than you were yesterday. And as all these lessons come together, a deeper understanding begins to form that the life you are building is not just about you. It is about the impact you leave behind, the lives you touch, the difference you make. And Jesus Christ showed that a life of true significance is not measured by how much you gain, but by how much you give, not by how much you are recognized, but by how much you serve. And when you begin to live with this mindset, your perspective shifts, your priorities change, and your life takes on a deeper meaning, one that goes beyond temporary success and moves toward lasting fulfillment. And now, as you stand at this point in the journey, having explored these lessons, having reflected on these truths, you are faced with one final and powerful realization: that everything you have learned, everything you have heard, everything you have felt, is leading you to a decision to remain the same or to transform, to continue living on autopilot or to step into a life of purpose, awareness, and truth. Because knowledge alone does not create change, action does. And the teachings of Jesus Christ were never meant to be admired from a distance. They were meant to be lived, experienced, and embodied. And the path is now in front of you, clear and open, waiting for you to take the first step. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, because the moment you choose to live differently is the moment your life begins to change, and that moment is always within your reach. As this journey nears its final stages, there is a quiet but powerful truth that begins to settle within you, a realization that everything you have been searching for, strength, peace, purpose, love, has never been as far away as it once seemed, because the teachings of Jesus Christ were never meant to complicate life. They were meant to simplify it, to bring clarity to confusion, light to darkness, and direction to those who feel lost. And yet, the simplicity of these truths is often what makes them difficult to follow, because the world constantly pulls you in different directions, filling your mind with noise, comparison, pressure, and expectations, making it easy to forget what truly matters. But when you pause, when you reflect, when you return to these teachings, you begin to see clearly again. You begin to remember that life is not about chasing everything. It is about choosing what is meaningful. And this choice requires awareness. It requires you to step back from the distractions and ask yourself what truly matters, what truly brings you peace, what truly aligns with the person you want to become. And in that moment of honesty, you begin to let go of what is unnecessary, what is draining, what is not in alignment with your purpose. And this process of letting go is not a loss, it is a gain. Because every time you release something that does not serve you, you create space for something that does, something that brings you closer to truth, closer to peace, closer to the life you're meant to live. And as you continue to grow, you begin to understand the importance of consistency in your spiritual and personal journey, because transformation is not built in moments of inspiration alone. It is built in the quiet, often unnoticed moments of discipline, the daily decisions to choose patience over frustration, kindness over judgment, faith over fear. And these choices may seem small in the moment, but over time they shape who you become. They create a foundation that is strong, stable, and aligned with your values. And Jesus demonstrated this consistency throughout his life, not just in moments of great impact, but in everyday actions, in the way he spoke, the way he treated others, the way he responded to challenges, showing that true transformation is not occasional, it is continuous. And this leads to another profound lesson, the importance of awareness of your thoughts. Because your thoughts are powerful, they influence your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your reality. And if your mind is filled with negativity, doubt, and fear, it becomes difficult to live a life of peace and purpose. But when you become aware of your thoughts, when you begin to observe them rather than be controlled by them, you gain the ability to choose differently, to replace doubt with belief, fear with courage, and negativity with hope. And this shift in mindset can change everything, because once your inner world begins to change, your outer world follows. And as this awareness deepens, you begin to see the importance of living in the present moment, because so many people are either stuck in the past or worried about the future, missing the only moment that truly exists, the present. And Jesus emphasized the value of living fully in each moment, not being consumed by what has already happened or what might happen, but being fully engaged in what is happening now. And when you learn to live in the present, you experience life more deeply, you appreciate more, you worry less, and you begin to find joy in the simplest things, and this presence becomes a source of peace, grounding you even when life feels uncertain. And as all these lessons come together, you begin to see a transformation not just in your thinking, but in your entire way of living, a shift from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from striving to surrender. And this transformation is not something that happens once. It is something that continues to unfold, day by day, moment by moment, as you continue to apply these truths as you continue to grow, as you continue to walk this path with intention and awareness, and now, as you stand on the edge of the final chapter of this journey, there is a sense that something within you has changed, that you are no longer the same person who began this journey, that you see life differently, that you understand yourself more deeply, and that you are ready to take the final step, the step that turns knowledge into action, that turns understanding into transformation, and that step is what will define the direction of your life moving forward. And now, as this journey reaches its final moment, there is a quiet stillness, a pause that invites you to reflect, not just on the words you have heard, but on the truth you have felt within yourself, because this has never been just a story about Jesus Christ. It has been a mirror, a reflection of what is possible within you, a reminder that the same strength, the same love, the same peace that he spoke about has always been available to you, waiting patiently for you to recognize it, to embrace it, and to live it. And as you stand here now, you may begin to realize that change does not come from hearing powerful words alone. It comes from the decision to act on them, the decision to choose love when it is difficult, to choose faith when fear feels overwhelming, to choose forgiveness when holding on feels easier, to choose truth when compromise seems tempting, because these are the moments that define your life, not the big, dramatic events, but the quiet choices you make every single day, and it is in those choices that your future is created, step by step, moment by moment. And perhaps the most powerful lesson of all is this, that you are not meant to live a life of fear, limitation, and doubt. You are meant to live a life of purpose, courage, and truth, a life where you are not controlled by your past, but guided by your vision, a life where you are not defined by your struggles, but strengthened by them. And this realization carries a responsibility, because once you know the truth, you cannot ignore it. Once you see the path, you cannot pretend it is not there, and the choice becomes clear to continue living as you have been, or to step into something greater, something deeper, something more meaningful. And that step does not require perfection. It does not require you to have everything figured out. It simply requires willingness, the willingness to grow, to learn, to try, to fall, and to rise again, because transformation is not a destination. It is a journey, one that unfolds over time, shaped by your commitment, your intention, and your actions. And as you move forward from this moment, you carry with you more than just lessons. You carry a new perspective, a new way of seeing life, of understanding challenges, of connecting with others, and of understanding yourself. And this perspective becomes your guide, helping you navigate the uncertainties of life with greater clarity and confidence. And there will still be difficult moments. There will still be challenges. But now you face them differently, with more awareness, more strength, and more faith, knowing that every experience, no matter how hard, has something to teach you, something to shape you, something to move you closer to the person you are meant to become. And as this journey comes to a close, it leaves you with one final truth, a truth that is simple yet powerful, that the life you are meant to live is not somewhere in the future. It is being created right now, in this moment, through your thoughts, your choices, and your actions. And the power to change your life has always been in your hands, waiting for you to take responsibility, to take action, and to take that first step forward. And so now the journey continues, not on a screen, not in words, but in your life, in the way you choose to live from this moment on. And the question is no longer what you have learned, but what you will do with it, because your story is still being written, and the next chapter begins with you.